I love robots. Whether they're flying in space, tiny little creatures, transformers, or evil beings here to take over the world, they are alluring, not just because they're sick, but that they're superior to their creators in every single way, except that they're not their creators. They have extended lifespans, intellect, prowess, strength. Everything about them is better, except one thing: they lack humanity. They do not have that special spark. They are dictated by code that humans made. This cognitive dissonance of them feeling superior but still lacking something an inferior life form possesses leads to many unique outcomes and interpretations in media. Whether it's the genocidal path of Ultron, the sadistic mind of Am, or the desperate longing of North 2, there's so many unique ways to tackle this concept. Whatever path the character takes, however, it usually revolves around one idea: the concept of identity. What makes a robot different from a human? What is a robot? And what is a human? As someone who is transitioning, I've thought about identity a lot, what it means, and how robots can help us understand it. And there's one character that takes the cake completely: the metallic blue blur, the underutilized and misrepresented evil, the ultimate overlord, the bootleg knockoff and honorary trans rep, Metal Sonic. So who even is this guy anyways? Well, Metal Sonic's entire character was based around the idea of making a better Sonic. When asked what Kazuyuki Hoshino would do to change Metal's design, it would be to simply give him a more futuristic feel, and perhaps also go invisible. Even in Sonic CD, which is Metal's first appearance, in the game beforehand and usually going forward, each boss fight was a one-screen fight where Sonic would hit a weak spot. Metal instead challenges Sonic to what he does best: racing, to prove once and for all that he can do everything Sonic can, but better. Even in the song in the background, Metal will sing how "you can't do anything, so don't even try it. Don't do what Sonic does," and "Sonic, dead or alive, is mine," which boils down his basic concept and identity to a T. Metal Sonic's basic code is simply to be a better Sonic. It gets to a point where, although Metal is a robot, which usually goes by it/its, but instead is using the masculine he/his, I think his pronouns might be Son-ic, with how integral Sonic is to his own identity. A being solely made to be the counterpart and upgrade of a single person, yet even with his upgrades, gets destroyed in the race, proving he could never be better, is a simple idea, yet is so intoxicating. That being made for a purpose you can't fill, but every wire and bit inside of you is screaming to do everything you can to prove that you're useful, because robots are just tools. So what is a robot that can't fulfill its purpose? It's a logical fallacy. Metal was built as a direct, better version, yet can't beat Sonic. It's an error. Goes against the entire purpose of him existing. Unfortunately, Sonic CD ends there, but it sets up a really good baseline for what Metal Sonic's character could really be. Fans were crossing their fingers that Sega really expands upon his character, and soon. 10 entire years later, in between Metal's lackluster appearances and one sick-ass boss fight, Sonic Heroes was released. This is the game that put Metal in all of his glory in the spotlight. In the game, he betrays Eggman and impersonates him to gather intelligence on how the various powerful members of the Sonic world fight. He then, reminiscent of his fight from Chaotix, turns into Metal Madness, and finally into Metal Overlord. Both forms are created out of combining all of the various code and data he has gathered from fighting and becoming a sort of amalgamation set on ruling the world. This form itself is Leviathan-like, with one of his quotes being from the Bible itself, stating, "Show me then, look at me, I am no longer afraid of anything. I am the king of all things, who looks down on all proud creatures and reigns over all proud beasts," in reference to the book of Job. He states how he is the real Sonic, and how he will destroy any fragment of what Sonic is. However, even being the ultimate life form and having an entire army of robots on his side, the power of friendship still defeats him. There's a lot to unpack with Metal Overlord, because it's the only time we canonically see Metal achieving his dream of becoming the perfect Sonic. As Metal states, the form we are currently seeing is the most perfect being ever. I described it as Leviathan-like, but take a second and look at it. What actually is it? You can try and make analogies and try to make sense of it, but the point is, it looks completely familiar, yet not at all. It's completely unique. It looks nothing like Sonic, nor does it look anything like Metal, but there's bits and pieces that are recognizable. It's ironic that Metal calls himself the real Sonic, but does everything he can to not look like him. This helps us understand what his dream goal is, and why he wants to kill Sonic. It's an innate desire to be unique. He is the Leviathan, the embodiment of envy, because he will never be original as long as Sonic lives. He is a copy, a forgery, an imitation, and will always be that until Sonic is destroyed. Unlike most evil robot forces where they have a general disdain towards humanity, Metals is focused. He doesn't hate humanity for making him like Sonic. He hates Sonic because that's all he is to humanity. He was given just enough emotion to feel disdain, and it's intense. So in this chimera-esque form where he states he is the perfect Sonic, that he is elevated into something more, he means he is something Sonic can never touch. He is perfect because he is unique. Yet, it never works out, and it always nags at Metal at the back of his head, even during the fight, no longer an imposter. He finally achieved what he always wanted, so why didn't he win? He battled and sacrificed so much to look and achieve the identity he wanted, yet he still lost. He never felt like himself, never was happy, and at the end just lays there, broken. So even after achieving this perfect form, why is he still unhappy? Do you think that Metal ever paints his shoes a different color? It's a dumb question, but one I fancy. Metal can't do anything to escape Sonic's influence on himself, to the point where Sonic's shoes are permanently on his body. The idea of Metal painting his shoes a different color, to even slightly escape the body he finds himself is a torturous idea. Doing the small things that make you feel like the person you want to be, but as you look at yourself in the mirror, you still see the person you are looking back at you. A grim reminder of who you are, an inescapable grasp that is your body. It's insinuated that Metal can't go against this fate. It's even mentioned in multiple canon Sonic media that Metal can't go against his code, that forever his identity will be mimicking Sonic's with the goal of killing him. Yet, it's been shown time and time again that robots easily break their code and gain some type of sentience, as seen with Shard or Omega. Omega blatantly goes against Eggman and even tries to fight back against him in Sonic Heroes. So why can't Metal? It's not that he can't. It's that he doesn't want to. Chasing after Sonic is all he knows. He doesn't have an identity outside of it. Without it, he is nothing. Even if he did paint his shoes, identity isn't a self-made construct. It's a social one. Everyone sees him as an imitation, a villain, a murderer. So the idea of breaking out of that mold feels suffocating. So why not play the part? Metal is constantly fighting between this giving in to what people want versus the person he wants to be but no one will believe. If that isn't a trans allegory, I truly don't know what is. When being trans, there's often this heavy emphasis on what is a woman or a man and how to achieve that. How does a woman walk versus a man walk? How do they dress, talk, eat, stand, sleep, sit? It's a mindset that can often micromanage your entire life. It's a goal that even if you do achieve everything, you would continue to find new things that you didn't find correct. It's a tool for survival. Although it's not a great coping skill, it allows you to thrive and perhaps obtain a better semblance of your identity. Constantly fighting to prove that you are one gender over another in a world that quite honestly doesn't like or believe you. It becomes so ingrained that it becomes a part of you, something you can't live without, where constantly proving and self-affirming your gender becomes a necessity of your everyday life, forever overshadowed by who you were and who you were created as, instead of the person you want to be. Metal is doing the same, a constant fight to prove that he is real, to make a name for himself instead of the name he was given. The fight is agonizing. Canonically in the games, Metal doesn't succeed in that fight. He gives into it. He feeds into what others think of him and becomes a monster of self-loathing and hatred. You can't blame him, though. Where the path to redemption is filled with hatred, and everyone second guesses who you really are. He can leave Eggman at any time. There's multiple points in IDW where he is given that offer, but the option always comes from Team Sonic, the same team that he was created to defeat and has to live through this misery. How could he accept their hand when there's nothing out there for him besides loneliness, especially after what happens in the Metal Virus? The Metal Virus is an arc within the IDW series that is about a liquid that turns whatever it touches into a robot. Metal is already a robot, so he is not affected by the virus at all. Now imagine all the people that he wishes he could be with. Tails, Amy, really anyone, and they're all in mortal danger of being turned into something they aren't. Their flesh into metal, warped into something foreign, and they are in intense panic to make sure they don't turn into a robot, making sure they don't turn into something like you. This arc also shows off my favorite metal panel of all time. Metal Sonic puts his hand in the metal virus and takes it back out. There's no expression on his face, just stillness, a grim realization that he will never be real. He will never be flesh. He will always be what he is, and that's Metal Sonic. And everyone will always see him as such. So why not just continue being that? He yearns for humanity but is rejected and hated by it. It's painful. It's a story that happens to a large number of people going through changes in identity, especially radical ones like gender. Everything tells you that it's not possible. The world, your biology, society, religion, and for most people, it quells those ideas. In most canon Sonic stories, that's what metal does as well. It consumes him, and he destroys himself in acts of self-mutilation, trying to chase after this goal of what he was made for, and not what he wants to be. However, that doesn't have to be the case. There is hope. Metal is a grim reminder of the burdens you carry with the identity you are given since birth, and in Metal's case, can't physically change due to his metal carapace or mentally change due to his hard coding. At least with gender identity, or any identity struggles, you can take steps to change it without large scientists altering your every move. However, because of the mountainous struggles of Metal, it gives even more hope when he succeeds. Although he never succeeds canonically, the idea of a Metal redemption is powerful enough to create multiple different fan interpretations that fulfill that dream. Instead of fighting for world domination or trying to become the perfect Sonic, he just needs to be himself, to just be Metal, to simply just be and live. Although it sounds simple, to just live and be yourself is one of the hardest things in the world, and it's a consistent struggle. There will be doubts, relapses, struggles, long periods of downs, yet they don't make you. If Metal was always seen as the overlord he once was, he would have never grown to be truly what he is. One of the most popular ships is Metal X Amy, one that focuses on growth of finding yourself and who you want to be through love. Most redeemed Metal designs are either radically different or pretty femme as Metal learns to be himself. It's never easy. It's clunky. It's hard. Who you want to be at might be a large problem for others. But at the end of the day, the people who do have a problem with you aren't the ones you should care about. Vector may never trust Metal again, but who gives a shit about Vector? Only care about the ones who are deserving of your love, because you are deserving of love for the person you want to be. If Metal, who was once seen as unchangeable and unmalleable, can break out and find himself,
you can too. Hi, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe, and my Twitter is in the description below. Talk to me. Thank you. Bye bye.